Welcome everyone to episode 55 of Let's Talk Wrestling. It is the peak of unique Jordan Megas, and finally, he has returned. It is the hysterical miracle, Jonathan Nickson. Welcome back to the show.
What's going on, brother? It feels good to be back here. I'm excited. It's been a while, but we're back. Back better than ever. The band is here. The reuniting of the peak of unique and the hysterical miracle.
I am so happy for it. We haven't seen you since, I want to say, the Survivor Series pre-show.
Yeah, it was 51 or 52, somewhere in there.
I know we did the episode about WWE 2K, but were you on that one where we predicted Survivor Series?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so we haven't seen or heard from you in almost 4 months. Mm-hmm. What have you been up to since? What have you been going on, man?
Just been pretty much just, working. I've been trying to get back to doing stand-up comedy. I'm all throughout the Tulsa area doing stand-up comedy, so that can get hectic sometimes. Having a job, also can get hectic sometimes. But I'm back. I'm pretty much gonna be back for however long we do
the foreseeable future.
Exactly. So yeah.
And I hope that reminds everybody that there was no dispute or discretion between the two of us. This was just an instance where we had things going on, whether it was finals, family, vacations, holidays. We just couldn't get together for a while.
Of course.
But now, all that's behind us. We're finally back together. 2 days away from the Royal Rumble. 1 day away from NXT TakeOver Phoenix. I am super excited. A fun little note about the Royal Rumble this Sunday. We all know it's going to be at Chase Field, where the Arizona Diamondbacks play. Yeah, that's a name. Where the Arizona Diamondbacks will play baseball every season. But I did not realize that it is the first time WWE is holding an event in a baseball stadium since WrestleMania 19 back in 2003.
Wow.
I feel like it's been shorter than that.
Yeah, and it was kind of shocking because that was such a nice arena that they had, especially for the 19. That was one of the first outdoor arenas that I'd been exposed to as a fan by that time. It's not an outdoor. It has, it's kind of an outdoor halfway.
They have the retractable roof area.
Yeah, of course. But it's still a really nice field.
Yeah, there are a number of outside arenas or stadiums that are really pleasing to the eye. When you think of, WrestleMania 29, even though the event was bad, really, the stage was nice. The stage was nice, outdoor.
The stage was really bad. Even back to WrestleMania 33, I think with the whole roller coaster setting in the back, that was amazing to me.
That was. And then you have those less than desirable outside arenas. WrestleMania 9, for example. Yeah. I get what they were going for. They were at Caesar's Palace in Vegas, but still, it was not pleasing. But now I don't think it's an outdoor. I believe the Diamondbacks actually have a roof in Chase Field, but they have a pool, a fun little pool in the fan zone. I heard that the wrestlers might be coming out of the dugout for their entrances, which I think is a really interesting touch. Hopefully they can incorporate that in the game in 2K20.
Maybe.
But we're also talking about the same company that hasn't gotten the licensing to use Madison Square Garden since, they've been working with them since 1985.
Pretty much.
So, before we get into the chunk of wrestling news for the week, we would like to remind everybody that you can sign up for a 30-day trial of Audible, the amazing audiobook service. How many titles are on there, Jonathan?
Over 3,500.
3,500? I think it might be higher than that. What about, say, 180,000?
Wow, that's a lot bigger than the first number I said.
Yeah, you were kind of selling them short there, man.
Yeah.
But over 180,000 titles. All you have to do, use our custom trial link, that is audibletrial.com/Let's Talk Wrestling. You have 30 days to try this service for free, and you get a free audiobook download. Any book you want. A lot of wrestling books on there. I always mention Hulk Hogan's book, Daniel Bryan's book, Chris Jericho. I think all 3 of his books
of course.
Are on Audible. Some of them read by the wrestlers themselves, which gives it a little bit more
personal connection to
yeah, because you hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Of course. And if you do try the trial and you decide you don't want it, you get to keep the book that you ordered forever and a day. It's yours, even if you don't want the trial anymore.
That's right. And if you decide to stick with the service, good for you. It'll be $14.95 every month. But use that link, and you're guaranteed to get a free audiobook, and you get to try the service for free for 30 days. So that link, one more time, audibletrial.com/Let's Talk Wrestling. So let's go ahead and start off on a good note, as if we haven't already with you coming back. Starting off with Matt Hardy saying that he is not retired. Not only that, he is cleared for a WWE return.
Always good news. Always good news to hear that, guys are able to come back and compete. Obviously, Matt Hardy, a big fan favorite with the whole delete or broken Matt Hardy gimmick, as we've seen, has been, I'd say, his most well-received gimmick, if you could say.
In a way, I can kind of see where you're going there. I would probably say the Matt Hardy version 1 was the most well-received, but I do agree when you say that the Broken has a bigger cult following
of course.
than the Mattitude. But of course, that all comes down to personal preference. So I guess the question begs, will we see Matt Hardy in the Royal Rumble this Sunday?
I don't see why not. I mean, if he's able to compete, obviously, if I'm not a WWE wrestler, but I mean, if I was, the Royal Rumble is just one of those things that I would want to be a part of,
Yeah.
Very iconic match. I don't see why Matt Hardy wouldn't want to be a part of that, so we can only hope to see.
That is very true. I don't know. I mean, I would like to see him in the Royal Rumble. I don't see why not as well. At the same time, do you think they will put him in there with that 2-day notice, Or do you think they might have all 30 entrants locked up?
I mean, you never know. I think WWE always, they know what they're doing. Obviously, I feel like they can, communicate with their stars on whether they want to be a part of certain things or not, especially when, they're fresh off of injury. Obviously, we saw Alexa Bliss, who for the longest time wasn't even active on the WWE roster besides, her roles as far as being a manager, I guess you could say, of the women's division.
Yeah.
She's going to be in the Women's Royal Rumble. I think you could say that, the same negotiations could have been had with Matt Hardy.
That is very true. And speaking of Alexa Bliss, as you said, she is returning to in-ring competition this Sunday at the Royal Rumble. Do you think that changes any plans as to who the winner would be? Because we know there are rumors that it could be Charlotte, it could be Becky Lynch. Do you think Alexa Bliss could be in that conversation now?
I mean, I don't see why not. Obviously, I mean, the Women's Royal Rumble is one of those things where I think it's the most... I think right now the Women's Royal Rumble is the most unpredictable, match on the card. Other than the Men's Royal Rumble, obviously. But we have our prediction on that we'll get into later. But I think Alexa Bliss right now, I don't think we want... Especially if she's just coming back into, an active role in the ring as far as, actual in-ring work. I don't think they're ready to put her into... a main event picture, say. Not to say she doesn't belong there or anything, but, she might not, not be ready. Obviously, we have a lot of storylines building up right now as far as whether we're going to get Becky versus Ronda once Mania 35 comes around, or Charlotte versus Ronda when Mania 35 comes around. So time will have to tell on that. But
there are a lot of things you can do with that, and a way I can see them still doing Ronda versus Becky, Ronda versus Charlotte, or a triple threat. I honestly don't want to see the triple threat.
Yeah, I mean,
only because I want to see Becky versus Ronda one-on-one. That was the match we didn't get at Survivor Series.
Of course.
As far as Alexa Bliss goes, I don't think she's in the conversation as to winning as like one of the front runners. I would probably say maybe a dark horse pick for winning the Rumble. And there's already a storyline in place because I don't think she'll go after Ronda. She won't stay on Raw. If she wins a Royal Rumble, she's going to go to SmackDown. Who's the champion on SmackDown right now? Asuka. And remember, Alexa was the Raw Women's Champion when Asuka won the Rumble and chose to go to SmackDown. So Alexa can still be a heel and play up the fact that Asuka was running away from Alexa going into WrestleMania.
And Alexa's one of those stars that I think can hang with Asuka as far as in-ring work. Not to say that there's not plenty on the roster who can already do that. I think Naomi can, obviously Charlotte and Becky can, I think Ronda can. There's plenty of people that can do that, but obviously for good intended purposes of having good matches the closer we get to Mania season, Alexa Bliss and Asuka is one of those money matches. Or I think the best thing that they can come up with on SmackDown right now to compete with, Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch whenever that comes around.
Yeah. And I'll say that's probably a good way to present it, as a way to compete, so it doesn't look like one is entirely outshadowing the other.
Of course.
So we have our predictions every month for the pay-per-views for the NXT TakeOver and for the pay-per-view that weekend. But for the Royal Rumble, just because there are 30 superstars, I'm going to allow a pick as to who we think will win, but I'll also allow a dark horse pick, so that we could say, this person might have a chance, and here is a good reason why I'd like to see it. Of
course.
Because everyone has that pick where it's like, I want to pick them, but I just don't think so. I don't think I'd put money on them.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I am with Drew McIntyre with the Royal Rumble, but of course we'll get into that later.
Of course.
Outside WWE professional wrestlers, Abyss and Sanjay Dutt are both now gone from Impact Wrestling, and they're actually expected to join the WWE in the near future. My question, do you think it's too late for them? Abyss being in so many, grueling matches like, Monsters Balls, Barbed Wire Massacres, TLC hardcore matches.
Yeah, this was... I mean, obviously Abyss is always one of those guys from TNA that you wanted to see on WWE TV. But right now, I think especially with the way that, WWE is currently trying to, move different people in their positions on the roster. We're seeing Mustafa Ali and Andrade Almas. We're seeing a lot more of the, the R-Truths and a lot of different stars getting that sort of spotlight. And I feel like there's not really anything that WWE could have that's worthwhile for, an Abyss or a Sanjay Dutt. Maybe less so on Sanjay Dutt's part, but I think for Abyss, he's more of a story-driven character.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I think the status of WWE is more driven towards actual in-ring work, if that makes any, makes any sense. But, the only time will tell. I think, depending on where we don't know if they're going to go to, straight to main roster.
Yeah.
As far as we know, Abyss and Sanjay Dutt could both end up on NXT. There's really no way of telling.
That's true. You could see both of them ending up anywhere.
Of course.
When it comes to main. I would be against Abyss joining WWE, just thinking how he competes and his style and how brutal he gets in his matches. Yeah. Big thing on his gimmick, uses those barbed wire tables, uses Janice that spiked 2x4. I don't think that we would get the same Abyss. It would just kind of be too watered down for me.
I don't know. I mean, I think obviously it's not going to be the same level of gore that you see with the Impact Wrestling, but I do think the way that WWE's headed, I mean, it's not like we're not too far off from the last thumbtack spot we had with Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. Like, I wasn't expecting that, and I mean, I feel like if there's certain people that can pull that kind of stuff off, and I guess. I mean, as long as WWE does it the right way, which, that's 50-50, neither here nor there, but I think they could keep it to where it's the same Abyss, quote-unquote.
Possibly. Of course, that's going to be up for debate until we actually see Abyss in WWE. As far as Sanjay Dutt goes, I can see him joining 205. He is smaller. I think he's around either 200 even or closer to the 190 range. But he's definitely up for it.
Of course.
And thinking about Sanjay Dutt in 205 Live, I would say 205, they need to market that more in terms of they put the world in World Wrestling Entertainment. Because you look at Raw, you look at SmackDown, it's primarily, mostly United States, some Mexico, some Japan, and a superstar from other countries here and there. When you look at 205 Live, you have guys from the States, England, Scotland, Ireland, Japan, China, New Zealand, Pakistan, and if you put Sanjay Dutt in there, you add another one. You add India.
Of course.
So they are definitely the international leader when it comes to WWE 205.
And it shows. I mean, as far as like where 205 Live is headed now, I think it's definitely up par with at least Raw. I mean, I guess we could say that. And I do think that, Sanjay Dutt benefits whichever brand he goes to. But, I mean, to get the most out of him, of course, you got to put him in the ring with more cruiserweights. Yeah,
and, one thing I do want to say about the cruiserweight division is that one thing, I'm liking the introduction of superstars from 205 onto the main roster. You know, you have the Lucha House Party. I don't like the gimmick, but I like the inclusion of those cruiserweights on Raw. You have Mustafa Ali on SmackDown. Imagine if say Bobby Lashley, you know, he gets cocky and issues an open challenge for the Intercontinental title, but the Cruiserweight champion, Buddy Murphy, ends up answering and puts on a clinic on Raw.
Of course.
Or you could do the same thing with Rusev on SmackDown and have, you know, you could have Hideo Itami go on to SmackDown. I think he's still one of those Cruiserweights that he should have gotten a better rub in NXT. That injury back in 2015 just killed him.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of in like a... I mean, if there was a bad time to get injured in NXT, it was, you know, that time, because back then we were in like the early stages of NXT's coming up as far as being the juggernaut of a brand that it is now.
Yeah.
You know, back then we had, you know, the Sami Zayns and the Kevin Owens and all that. And there was time for Hideo Itami to be one of the top stars on NXT, but now, you know, with there being as many stars as there are on that brand now, I still think that Hideo Itami has main roster potential as far as being, you know, a Raw or SmackDown guy. Yeah. But, you know, obviously WWE didn't feel the same. So
absolutely. And you got to remember, at that time he got injured, he was slated to win the NXT Championship 2 months later in that Japan show. That night that Finn Balor won the NXT title, that was supposed to be Hideo Itami. And you got to think just how much that digs at him.
Exactly.
And you can even introduce him onto Raw in a feud with Finn Balor that way.
I think that stuff could work. And I mean, he could tango with guys like Finn Balor. He could tango with guys like Seth Rollins. I think he could go with, you know, obviously his status is in the air right now, but I think he can go with Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles, even if you want to put him on SmackDown. I want to see him and Rey Mysterio go at it if that's even if that's a thing. So I mean, there are a lot of potentials there.
Yeah. Okay, so we know Roman Reigns being out of action is sad. You know, we don't like it because, you know, who wants to see someone go home due to leukemia?
Of course.
But he's doing really good. WWE actually revealed on their social media in the last couple days that Roman Reigns is now making his Hollywood debut, joining the cast of Hobbs and Shaw, the Fast and Furious spin-off movie, with The Rock.
Yeah, he's playing Hobbs' brother, and I mean, in the photo they show an on-set photo of him. You know, he's doing the classic Roman Reigns, who I yell, you know.
Yeah.
It's obviously a Haka scene. He doesn't look, you know, too bad. He still has the long hair. He still has the muscles bulking up, you know. He doesn't look too bad. And I mean, it's good to see that, you know, even though the status of him leaving the WWE wasn't how we, you know, wanted it to be, that, you know, he's in a good place, at least.
Yeah, and hopefully we can see him back in the ring.
Of course.
Soon or someday. We were kind of laughing at the idea of him possibly coming back this Sunday, winning the Rumble and facing Lesnar again at Mania. But I really don't want to jinx that.
Of course not.
But when you look at this photo, it does not look like a Fast and Furious movie. It looks like some kind of Islander movie. You see the car in the background, you see people fighting in the background, but then you see the attire.
Yeah, supposedly this scene is it's supposed to take place in Hawaii. So I mean, it's you know, only time will tell, obviously, how the movie's going to end up. But I'm glad to see, you know, Roman Reigns obviously, you know, following suit with the John Cena's and the Rocks. I mean, I guess this isn't, you know, following suit with that. He's not a main role or anything, but it's glad to see that he's getting his feet wet in something that is not just professional wrestling.
Yes. And, you know, moving on, we have a big thing to talk about, and that is the WWE Hall of Fame. That is one of the biggest events of WrestleMania weekend, and one thing I would like to mention, you know, with every talk of the Hall of Famers, I want to talk about WWE possibly spoiling the Hall of Fame headliner this year. Because they released an ad for WWF Superstars, which they're adding to the WWE Network. You know, the original one back in 1992. And here is the ad, okay? So it shows the WWE Superstars graphic. Enjoy 25 newly added hours of Superstars, WWE's flagship program before the dawning of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Witness WWE Hall of Famers, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, and more. The key there being referring to The Undertaker as a Hall of Famer. So, do you think that could be a spoiler as announcing The Undertaker as the headliner for this year's WrestleMania Hall of Fame class?
If there was a time, I think it's now. I mean, usually, I mean, by now we'd have seen some remnants of The Undertaker, whether it be a Royal Rumble appearance or anything like that. I don't really see anyone on the main roster that could, maybe have a match with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
We were talking a couple weeks ago about how there were rumors going on that, the push for Finn Balor was pretty much to give him legitimacy towards facing The Undertaker at Mania. I doubt that that's the route that they're going to go with this. But I feel like if there was ever a time to put him in the Hall of Fame, it's now.
You know what? Now that you've addressed it, let's talk about that. Let's talk about those plans for Finn Balor to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I have been pitching this match for 3 good years.
I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I just feel like with the superstar like Finn Balor and it being Mania, you got to think of the match he had at 34, the triple threat with Seth Rollins and The Miz?
Yes.
I feel like there's a lot more to a WrestleMania than a Finn Balor, and I feel like their classic, their styles, I guess, especially at this stage in Undertaker's career, just wouldn't really benefit,
And, there really isn't much more that you can do to benefit the career of The Undertaker.
Of course.
But what a thing it would be, this, because, they have a bit of everything at WrestleMania, and I feel this would be a case of adding spectacle more than quality. And why not? Okay, you have The Undertaker, who, without a doubt, has the greatest entrance of all time in WWE. And Finn Balor, whenever he has the Demon entrance, I would say, arguably, the greatest entrance of this generation. And they both have dark, sadistic characters. So why not have the Dead Man versus the Demon, and have the Demon get the torch passed to him as, like, a new Lord of Darkness?
Well, I mean, I don't want Undertaker's last match to be a loss. I mean, I feel like the only way that works out is if Undertaker you just said, passes the torch to Finn Balor. That doesn't really work out to me in my head with Undertaker taking a loss on his way out of the company. You could always just have some sort of promo, where Undertaker comes out and, someone that you want Finn Balor to, have a good match with at Mania, whether it be The Miz or somebody, they come out, they taunt, call Undertaker an old man, whatever. Then you have Demon Finn Balor come out, and then he beats whoever's taunting The Undertaker. Then after that match, you have a moment where the Demon and the Dead Man stare face to face, and that could be your passing of the torch moment. I feel like that gives a lot more to the eye than watching a match between Undertaker and Finn Balor.
I can kind of see where that's an interesting note to add there. I am kind of now tossing the idea around in my head of, one thing I pitched on the show last week was, I don't think it'll happen this Sunday, but the idea of Finn Balor beating Brock Lesnar, becoming Universal Champion, and Seth Rollins winning the Royal Rumble. So the first match ever for the Universal Championship will now main event WrestleMania 35. And we'll get the match that we should have gotten at SummerSlam 2016 if it wasn't for Finn's injury.
Of course.
And we know that would burn the house down, first of all. No pun intended.
It would. And, I mean, it's just, right now, I think with WWE, especially when it comes to Mania, they need spectacle. You look at last year, you had spectacle with it being Ronda Rousey's debut and Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And you have the whole thing with if John Cena and Undertaker are going to have a match. Like, you have all these part-time guys that pretty much carry WrestleMania. We're not really talking about, I'd say the only match from WrestleMania 34 that anyone is still talking about is Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. And that's just because it has that spectacle to it,
Yeah, I also think that's kind of a case of them not doing certain superstars justice.
Of course.
I think if they would have made Shinsuke Nakamura, at least let him win the title for even for a month, have him win it at Extreme Rules and lose it at Money in the Bank. If you would have had him win the title at some point, you could have had AJ versus Shinsuke 1 at Mania be one of those most talked about matches. The way they buried Asuka those 3 months after WrestleMania 34, that was, in my opinion, that was honestly the best match of the night in terms of the quality of a match.
Of course.
So,
and I think, we have our mixed opinion on this, but I think it was the best time possible to end Asuka's streak.
Oh, no way.
I would rather her first loss go to a Charlotte than a Ronda Rousey.
That is true. I could see that. And I'm glad that Charlotte beat her. But I'm just upset that the next time Asuka got a title shot, she lost because of James freaking Ellsworth.
Yeah.
That Okay, let's move on. So we'll stay on the topic of Finn Balor. We talked about him possibly winning the Universal Championship this Sunday. In my opinion, that kind of goes out the window with the announcement that Finn Balor had an interview with ESPN about this Sunday's match, and he says he will not be the Demon at the Royal Rumble. His quote being, of course, this is a quote, as Michael Cole would say with the anonymous general manager, and I quote, "I feel like maybe I leaned on the Demon too much there in the past as a crutch, and I can assure you the man who faces Finn Balor or Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble will be Finn Balor the man. I think a lot of people were surprised when I came out to WrestleMania in non-demon paint, but I feel like I had a bigger message to spread that day. Honestly, this match just kind of came out so fast, I haven't had much time to think about it. Now, there are a couple more days between now and then. He could still come out as the Demon, but as it looks right now, it'll just be straight up Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar. And we'll get to the match this Sunday. We'll get to that later, because...
I mean, at first reading that, you're kind of disappointed. Obviously, why would it not be the Demon versus the Beast? But I get what he's saying as far as leaning on it as a crutch to boost his character. I feel like I want to see a Finn Balor that I can enjoy watching week in and week out and week in and week out, as opposed to just seeing, okay, he's going to be the Demon now, and then he's not the Demon, and we kind of all sit back. He can afford to lose when he's not the Demon. I feel like if he wins more as Finn Balor, if he keeps carrying, I think he has really good mic work as far as cutting promos and stuff like that. I think we fall more in love with his character as opposed to the spectacle of just watching him do the Demon entrance.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed him working these last 2 or 3 weeks because his promos have been a bit edgier. He's been a bit more serious. He's not smiling all the time. He's competing at a high level in the ring, more of a high level than he always does. But he seems like to have a new drive now, and I appreciate that. So maybe he does pull the upset this Sunday. If he does, we're going to go ballistic, because we're watching the Royal Rumble together this Sunday, right?
Of course.
So, we will possibly have Patrick over. Everyone remembers Patrick from WrestleMania 32 show and the WrestleMania 34 show. But I would love to do an episode that day, just kind of like maybe a live reaction, and stream it on YouTube, just as a way, because it'll be the three of us once again, and I think that was some of our best stuff.
Of course,
where it was the three of us, and we're not going to talk about the fourth. So now, stepping outside WWE for a second again, we're going to talk about AEW. Now, I don't know how much exactly you know about AEW.
I know. As far as signings and stuff, they've been a thorn in WWE's side, to say the least.
They have been sticking it in them.
Cleaning house, yeah.
Do you know any of the names that have been signed thus far?
I know so far Young Bucks have been signed, Cody Rhodes has been signed,
well, yeah,
Kenny
they're the ones that started the
Omega
company.
might be signed. Who else? Chris Jericho also signed, I believe, with AEW.
Yep.
Pac or Neville, if you're not familiar with him, the indie scene, is also signed with AEW. I don't know if there's any more that I'm missing. Of course, there's more that I'm missing, but
no, you're good. You are very good. Because those are the big ones. There are a few others. There's Joey Janela, Penelope Ford, and now it looks like Jungle Boy, the son of '90s acting star Luke Perry, is now coming into AEW. He is signed with AEW. In a tweet from Matt Jackson or the Young Bucks, they wanted to welcome Jungle Boy to the AEW roster. That's amazing. And do you know who's backing up the AEW financially? By chance?
Cody Rhodes?
No, the Khan family. If you don't know them, this will make you laugh or make you think, okay, they could be competition in the coming years. So you know how Vince McMahon has been wanting to get his hands in, the NFL kind of for years. He hasn't been able to get it. His first try at the XFL failed. The XFL coming next year, but the Khan family, who is financially backing the AEW promotion, is the family, like they're either partial or full owners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and their net worth is like $8 billion.
Jesus Christ.
And they're offering them some really good contracts. They're offering like WWE level healthcare. Like if you get an injury on our show, we'll cover it, and you'll be good to go. Some good contracts, and as far as a TV deal, Chris Jericho would not have signed with AEW if there wasn't like a big TV deal. I'm talking like TNT, TBS,
of course.
True TV. So that I'm very excited to see what is going on. And they even released an episode called AEW: The Road to Double or Nothing. We'll watch that. We can watch that later. But to think that this could be something big, Triple H even outright said AEW is competition, and that is probably the biggest boost. You know, we could say, oh, they haven't had one show yet, which they haven't. I'm not counting All In. You can't count All In because
and I think especially you have to remember this isn't WWE. And it might be, you know, disrespectful or whatever, but I feel like with other brands, the hype is worth the hype. Yeah. So, like, especially when you have stars, like, you know, the Young Bucks are never going to disappoint. You know, Cody Rhodes is never going to disappoint.
Yeah.
You know, Pac is never going to disappoint. You know, all these other signees that they have, Chris Jericho is never going to disappoint. Kenny Omega. So you have all these people, and like you said, bring in big money. That's not just for free agents coming from Japan. That's for people from WWE that are getting out of their contracts. The Dolph Zigglers, the Revivals, all these guys that are going to go over to AEW and do really good work. It's going to be really eye-opening to Vince and anyone else that's, you know, behind how people are getting booked nowadays. We know competition, as we've seen in the past, brings out the best in WWE, so I'm all for it. I hope they kick ass. I hope they keep getting better and better and better. And I hope we have, you know, a sort of rehashing of the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah, and, you know, I've heard some people say that you have to wait a couple years before you can say they're actual competition to WWE. I say you don't have to wait that long. All you need is that first show.
Of course.
And the reason why, the venue for the Double or Nothing show is TIAA Bank Stadium, which is where the Jacksonville Jaguars play. Their very first show for a quote-unquote independent promotion. No, this is a big promotion. And their very first show is going to be in a 50 or 60,000 seat stadium. If they sell out that stadium and put on a good, even a decent show, then AEW can officially be considered competition to WWE.
Of course.
So imagine, you know, there's always wrestling in the area where WrestleMania is. So imagine if AEW, for some, like, crazy reason, books a stadium that's, like, 30 minutes or an hour away from WrestleMania, either the same date or the night before. You'll see a lot of fans track over there. But like I said, it will depend on that first show. And I honestly want to see them kick ass.
Of course.
I'm not saying I want WWE to die, because I love WWE.
I mean, I don't want WWE to die either. Who wants WWE to die? But
yeah.
What I'm saying is I think they need a little, you know, a little jab, you know, a little punt, a little kick in the ass. Like, hey, you know, get it together.
Yeah.
You got superstars. You got to work on the ones you got now. Yeah. I'm going to need to see Andrade doing some stuff. I'm going to need to see, you know, you got Ricochet. All these people, as quick as they came, they could be right back out the door. EC3 could be right back out the door. Ricochet could be right back out the door. You have all these guys that you got to make sure that you're nurturing. Not when I say nurturing, I don't mean like just handing title runs and all this kind of stuff, but letting them do what they want, you know, giving them that creative freedom to do what they want in the ring. We've seen how good that stuff can be. We've been seeing Andrade Almas and Rey Mysterio tearing it up on SmackDown Live recently, and that's because they're getting the freedom to do the stuff that they want to do. These guys want to give us good shows week in and week out, and they can do it.
Yeah, and you know that one of the biggest things, like you said, you know, freedom to do what they are born to do. AEW announced that they are not hiring creative writers, and they're not going to micromanage their talent. They're going to let them say, okay, we have a general direction. We want everything to go in. You fill in the blanks. And that is probably the best way to book any professional wrestling. Because, or at least whenever you sign big name talent, okay, you can micromanage, you know, some upstarts if you're starting a promotion, but don't micromanage once you have, like, you know, a star like Cody or the Young Bucks or Pac or Jericho. They know what they're doing. They know what they're about. They know what the mentality is going into that match. So you need to make the situation where they can all you need to do, here's who's winning, here's how I want the finish to go. And they'll tear it up. And you got the stars on WWE to do that. And you need to stop monopolizing. Stop focusing on taking talent from AEW and focus on the talent that you have, because you have more than enough. Like,
exactly.
Like your pot's overflowing. And eventually you're going to burn yourself out. And Andrade, I'm glad you brought him up, because we actually do have possible plans for Andrade that might have leaked. So apparently, Dave Meltzer commented that WWE could, he could claim that while it's not a sure thing, the direction looks to be that Mysterio and Andrade end their program as a babyface tag team. And with Andrade getting the rub from Rey Mysterio as part of strengthening the tag team division, which SmackDown kind of needs. Because well, I mean, while you do have a number of tag teams, you have the Good Brothers, the Usos, the New Day, Sanity, and the Bar. You got 5 decent tag teams.
And still, our tag team title match Sunday is Shane McMahon and The Miz. But, I digress. Go ahead.
That's 6 tag teams. And, 5 of them, good tag teams. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying you need to shake things up a little bit. Because we always did... they did kind of have a good point when they said it was always the New Day, the Usos, and the Bar. New Day, Usos, and the Bar. Some combination of them. But you have the Bludgeon Brothers coming back soon. You have the Miz and Shane. They could be a fun makeshift tag team, I guess. Yeah. Andrade and Rey Mysterio will be an interesting thing.
I think, honestly, I'm not a big fan just because, you know how strong I push for Andrade, man.
Yeah.
I think that he has a ton of potential as far as being a single heel star. Can you give me, other than The Miz, I guess we can, other than Daniel Bryan, obviously, who's doing amazing heel work, by the way.
Yeah.
And The Miz. There's not really any other heel on SmackDown right now.
As far as, top level.
As far as good level heel.
You can name just straight up heels.
Of course. And I mean, I think that we need that. I feel like the WWE needs bad guys. You can't make a babyface without a heel.
That is very true. Yeah.
So, I mean...
It's a balance of good and evil. You need to find the balance. Yeah. And there's actually, speculation. We heard Sin Cara may be involved in a program with Mysterio when he's cleared to return. But it's been speculated that he may join those two and form like a Latino stable, which, I mean, okay, stereotyping, first of all. But the thing there, you can have... I love the idea of having factions. Imagine the Undisputed Era getting called up to the main roster. You'll have the Undisputed Era, you'll have Sanity. If you put them together, you'll have the Club. You'll have this Latino stable of Sin Cara, Andrade, Mysterio, and you can even add the Lucha House Party members in there with Grand Metalik, Lindsay, and Kalisto. You can add all of them and make it an Evolution-style tag team. Let Andrade go for the WWE title. Let Rey and Kalisto, or Kalisto and Sin Cara, reunite the Lucha Dragons, go for the tag team titles. Let Lindsay, Grand Metalik, or some other third go for the United States title. They can be a powerful stable.
Of course.
You have the tools there. Just build it, So we know that there's going to be a Worlds Collide tournament this weekend during Royal Rumble Access, but it'll be streamed next weekend as opposed to this weekend. So obviously my plan for the winner to get a spot in the Rumble is out the window. Unless this is okay, you still get a shot at the Rumble, but we'll just show the tournament after. Yeah. I could see them doing that, but what would be the point?
It wouldn't really make sense.
You can do a point or do a show where you have a co-branded Elimination Chamber where the winner of the Elimination Chamber will probably go to face the world champion at WrestleMania. You can have the winner enter that. There's still a number of things you can do, and they did name the competitors. I named them a few weeks ago, but let's go ahead and do a little bit of a refresher. It'll be a single elimination tournament, and the tournament kicks off with superstars battling in a kind of like a battle royal, and the winner of that will get a bye into the second round.
Okay.
But the competitors representing NXT is Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Dominic Dijakovic. I always butcher that name. I'm sorry. Keith Lee and Shane Thorne of the Mighty. NXT UK representatives Mark Andrews, Tyler Banks, Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin, and Zach Gibson. I love Jordan Devlin. He is doing some amazing heel work. Have you been watching NXT UK any?
Mildly. I watched some of the UK, the UK takeover.
Yeah. Okay, so he was supposed to have a match with Travis Banks. Got subbed with Finn Balor. A match they had was a barn burner.
Of course.
I'm happy with that. And the 205 Live competitors being Cedric Alexander, Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, TJP, and the newcomer, Humberto Carrillo. He had a match with Buddy Murphy last week. He was really good. Had a match. I know he had a match this Tuesday on 205. I think it was against Grand Metalik, and he got the win. But you got a good 15 there, and I would love to see any of them in the Rumble.
Of
so
course.
if Adam Cole wins that tournament and gets in the Rumble, why not put him? Why not put him in that spot? Why not put Velveteen Dream in that spot? Any of those 15, really, with the exception, I would say, of Tony Nese, just because I don't think he's on that level in terms of popularity.
I think he could be, though.
He could be.
I think Tony Nese is one of the more underrated cruiserweights, if I'm being honest.
If you could just repackage him, like he could still keep the premier athlete, but that counting his abs being the only thing redeemable about him right now is it needs to go. But out of those 15, I could see Velveteen Dream winning the whole thing, or someone from the NXT UK brand, maybe Jordan Devlin.
I see Tyler Bate winning.
I could see that, and that'd be the second tournament. And imagine that, like if they had a tournament for a title. All of a sudden, Tyler Bate enters. I haven't lost a tournament in WWE yet. Fight me. So you can make that argument for Tyler Bate. So now we are down to the weekend. We are down to NXT TakeOver Phoenix for tomorrow night. And in a way, this is kind of a mixed bag for me. Just with the card and some of the matches. So we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. We have Matt Riddle going one-on-one with Cassius Ohno. Do we even have a dispute on this one?
I mean, obviously Matt Riddle's going to take the win here, but you never know. I think this is one of the first matches where it's like you didn't really know you wanted it, and you kind of don't want it.
Yeah.
But you got it anyway, and I mean, I think it's going to be a good match, obviously, better than what they had at TakeOver, what was it?
Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Was
it Philadelphia?
With Dream and Cassius?
No, with Matt Riddle and Cassius, where you like knocked him out clean.
Oh, no, that was at, that wasn't Brooklyn. I think that was War Games.
It was War Games. It was War Games. Sure, it was War Games. Okay, so, yeah, I think obviously it's going to be better than the first match they had.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be extremely hard-hitting, which is the only thing I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I would say Matt Riddle. Of course, Matt Riddle's going to win. Why would you not pick him? But I would say this is the big thing for Cassius Ohno. This might be a win or go home, or not a win or go home, but in terms of winning the match. But win or go home, as in you need to put on a clinic here.
Of course,
you need to put on a really good match because I do not take Cassius Ohno seriously. I have not since he came back to NXT. So if he doesn't do it here, I'm just going to say he's not going to do nothing. We have the NXT North American Championship. Ricochet versus Johnny Gargano. Honestly, I think this is the match that's going to steal the show.
I agree.
Tomorrow night. And who do you have winning?
I have Ricochet taking the win here. I don't really see a reason for him to drop the title right now. And I think Johnny Gargano is one of those people where it's just like he can take the loss and it won't really hurt him. Yeah. So I give the win to Ricochet. All
right, now this kind of plays into one of my plans. So I will hold this match off. But I will say that I predict Johnny Gargano will win. But I'll give my how later. Match number 3, the Undisputed Era versus the War Raiders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Who do you have going in?
I have the War Raiders going in. I think, or
this one is a toss-up.
It's a tough one. I feel like the War Raiders need the win.
Yeah.
Especially right now, obviously they took the loss at War Games. So, wait, Undisputed Era won War Games, right?
No, it was the War Raiders, Pete Dunne, and Ricochet.
They did win. So, I mean, I still think the War Raiders could use it as far as just giving them some legitimacy.
Yeah.
Obviously, nobody's going to, Undisputed Era is still going to have that legitimacy whether they win or lose. Yeah. But I'm ready for them to hopefully move up to the main roster pretty soon. Yeah. So they could hold on to it this time and then drop it once TakeOver New York comes back around. But we'll have to see.
That is very true. I will also say the War Raiders are going to win. The Undisputed Era, with the exception of that 3 or 4 weeks where Mustache Mountain were the tag team champions, the Undisputed Era have been holding on to the titles for the better part of a year. Actually, it would be a year come TakeOver Philadelphia, I believe. So why not, So War Raiders is my official pick. This one I'm kind of looking forward to the least, but I think it'll be a really good match. Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair for the NXT Women's Championship.
I got Shayna Baszler.
Now, Bianca Belair, extremely talented. Once again, I love the gimmick. The hair is the only problem with me. Having hair that goes down basically to your thighs, Which, I mean, if it was a real hair, fine. But it's a weave extension. I don't like it because you have too much talent and you have too good a gimmick to have that, you know? So I'm going to say Shayna Baszler. And the main event, Tommaso Ciampa versus Aleister Black for the NXT title. They have it labeled here as the NXT World title. I kind of like that, the NXT World title. But who do you have, Tommaso Ciampa or Aleister Black?
Right now, I got Aleister Black winning.
Okay.
Aleister Black winning.
All right, and I will say Aleister Black too. Now to go back to the North America title. I feel they're going to pull a somewhat twisted version of a Shane McMahon Kurt Angle. So, in case you don't know, you remember the street fight they had back at King of the Ring 01. Do you remember the matches preceding that?
Were they not like team?
Okay, so Kurt Angle, he was in the King of the Ring tournament. He was in the semifinals. He was in a match with Christian. Shane McMahon helped him win the match. He competed in the finals. Shane McMahon cost him that match. And then you had a street fight. So, Shane McMahon, that was a ploy to, burn out Kurt Angle. I feel, we've had these teases of DIY reuniting. I could see Tommaso Ciampa coming in during the North American title match, costing Ricochet the North American Championship to give Johnny Gargano the win. And then it looks like Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa is going to win the NXT title, but Johnny Gargano costs him the NXT title. And so you can have one more big payoff match at TakeOver New York, because I think they're not labeling it TakeOver Brooklyn, but TakeOver New York, and you can have it be a loser leaves NXT match.
Of course.
And you can have a whole 2-year odyssey wrap up, and this time it'll be for the NXT North American Championship. In which case I would see, Tommaso Ciampa maybe going... Actually, I would see Johnny Gargano going over and Tommaso Ciampa moving up.
I agree.
But, I like that idea, though. It adds a layer to that storyline. Instead of just, I hate you, you hate me. No, this time, now you're, I helped you, but you screwed me. I'm going to mess you up.
Yeah, of course. What do you think? I mean, this is one of the slimmer cards. I mean, NXT usually has anywhere between 3 to 5 matches per card. What do you think about Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream not being a match?
I think it's just a case of we want to give some other stars a shot. When it comes, we want to see Gargano, Ricochet. We want to bump up Cassius. We want to bump up Matt Riddle, and I think Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole, they may be getting groomed for a call-up. So that would actually add into the War Raiders winning the tag team titles. You could call up Velveteen Dream and the Undisputed Era.
I agree. I think at first it was kind of upsetting, of course, because who wouldn't want to see that match? But I think I understand not putting it on the card just for the purposes of having it on the card. It didn't really hurt the card whether it's on it or not. I'd rather it not be on, and we see it, pay off somehow. NXT, they do regular, NXT weekly shows. Sometimes they do pay-per-view style matches. Ricochet versus Pete Dunne, I would never have thought I would have saw on, NXT TV. Yeah. But it is one of those matches where, it can have that big payoff. So I think eventually we will see a match, but not this TakeOver.
I'll be excited to see what they do tonight or tomorrow night to set up the coming months for NXT and TakeOver New York. So now we have the big one, the Royal Rumble. The road to WrestleMania begins this Sunday. So we'll go ahead, once again, start from the bottom to the top. We'll start with the kickoff show. First match on there, Fatal 4-Way match for the Cruiserweight Championship. Buddy Murphy versus Kalisto versus Akira Tozawa versus Hideo Itami. Again, that diversity. You have Australia versus Mexico, and then 2 representatives of Japan. So, who do you have winning this?
I got Hideo Itami walking out.
Wow! You have Hideo Itami becoming the Cruiserweight Champion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Because Buddy Murphy, he's had a good 3-month run. I'd love seeing him. I would love to see him be one of those names that get called up to the Raw or SmackDown. Kalisto, he's having fun with his Lucha House Party. And Akira Tozawa, he's been Cruiserweight Champion before. So I kind of have less of a desire to see him winning. But I'll say Buddy Murphy retains. We have the United States Championship match also on the kickoff show. Rusev versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Do you see Shinsuke winning the title back?
No, I see Rusev keeping it. I think they're gonna, we're gonna see a lot different styles from wrestlers. I guess you could say when Rusev first, debuted, he had that, that brute force about him. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of diminished as the years have gone by, but I think it's kind of gonna go back to that, and it's gonna become more and more and more, serious in the ring, more entertaining to watch. So I give Rusev the win here.
I can see that too, and in a way, I could probably see this tandem doing a double turn. Because Rusev Day is kind of dying down. I could see them making Shinsuke a face again, making Rusev a heel. And, this goes to where you don't need cowardly heels. Not every heel needs to be a coward. Yeah. I addressed Baron Corbin being a heel. And he doesn't need to run away all the time. He has the stature to be just a badass bad guy who says mean shit. And I think Rusev could be the same thing. He's a big, thick... He's not big, but he's thick. And he could just run roughshod. But he's a face. I like him being a face because I want to like him. And Shinsuke Nakamura, I love seeing these two in the ring. They put on good matches. But I'll say Rusev retains as well. SmackDown Tag Team Championships, The Bar taking on The Miz and Shane McMahon. Do you see this best in the world tag team winning? Basically, this is knockoff Haas and Benjamin.
Absolutely not.
You see The Bar retaining?
Of course. I think it's going to lead eventually to some sort of confrontation between The Miz and Shane McMahon, just to give them both something to do at this point.
Yeah.
I don't really see a reason for The Bar to lose the championships right now. I give it to The Bar.
I would give it to Miz and Shane McMahon. One, because I think they will. It's I could see Miz and Shane going at it at Mania and maybe losing it the next pay-per-view. And two, I just want the titles off The Bar. I like Cesaro, not so much Sheamus. And don't get me wrong, because there are points where I like Sheamus, but in this tag team, I just don't see it. I don't see the appeal. Because I love him as a Celtic Warrior, but now in this tag team, he seems, I don't know, I guess in a word, stale. In Cesaro, he's kind of staled out too, but Cesaro's best work is in tag teams, let's be honest. When he was in the Real Americans with Jack Swagger, he was at the peak of his popularity. Of course. He had his best run in a tag team with Tyson Kidd. Sadly, Tyson Kidd never recovered. And now he's in a tag team with Sheamus. So, if you found Cesaro a new tag team partner, that'd be awesome. But I'll go with Miz and Shane. The SmackDown Women's Championship. Asuka defending the title against Becky Lynch. Who do you have walking away with the title?
This is a tough one.
Because this kind of ties into the Women's Royal Rumble too, and the other Raw Women's title match.
Of course, I think Asuka wins, but because of a screw job from Ronda Rousey.
Ooh, okay.
And then you have Becky Lynch screwing Ronda Rousey later, and Sasha Banks wins that match. Which that kind of blows my prediction for that match.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll counter that in a way. Now, the first half is the same. I will say, Ronda does something to cost Becky Lynch the SmackDown Women's title. But I will say Becky Lynch steals a spot in the Royal Rumble and wins it. And then chooses to face Ronda Rousey at Mania for the Raw Women's title. Yeah. Because, we all want to see that match one-on-one. We all want to see Becky and Ronda. And I think that might be the best way to do it. Say, okay, you're going to cost me the SmackDown title. I'm going to take yours. Of course. And so that kind of leads to our Raw Women's title. So you think Sasha will win?
I think Sasha will win. You think Ronda will win? It's one of those things where it's going to be a good match whether it's for a championship or not. So
yeah, okay. So yeah, we'll see about that. I'd like to see Sasha Banks win because she is a great competitor.
Exactly, and I think she deserves it at this point.
And if they do Ronda versus Becky as a non-title, just in a promotional main event, you can do that.
Of course. And I don't know if you saw Sasha Banks lighting Ronda Rousey on fire with her, social media posts and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah, but I think Sasha Banks definitely has earned that spot as far as, she's already been women's champion before. But, ain't nothing wrong with holding it again.
And, you could even turn things around. You said that you had Becky Lynch being cost the women's title by Ronda, and then Becky going around and costing Ronda her title. you could do that. What if Becky won, cost Ronda her title, like how Ronda did to Becky at TLC, and then Ronda wins the Rumble to go to SmackDown to face Becky?
Tough. That's tough.
That's one thing I like about this, because you have a lot of scenarios that you can go. You can have Ronda Becky for the Raw Women's title. You can have Ronda Becky for the SmackDown Women's title. You can have them in a non-title match. You can have a triple threat with them in Charlotte. There's a million ways you can go. But,
of course.
So, your prediction is Sasha Banks winning the Raw Women's title. And my prediction is Becky Lynch costing Sasha not costing Sasha, but Rousey retaining and costing Becky her match, and then Becky winning the Rumble.
Of course.
But if that happens, why not break up Sasha Banks and Bayley for real this time, and then make that your Raw Women's title match at Mania? You can have 3 women's matches at WrestleMania this year.
I'm all for it.
I still consider TakeOver Brooklyn, the match with Sasha and Bayley, to be the greatest female match of all time, bar none. Any promotion, anywhere in the world, Sasha and Bayley, number 1. Just everything you had going into that match. So, the WWE title will be on the line, of course. The new Daniel Bryan facing the phenomenal AJ Styles. Apparently the old AJ Styles. Kind of like how Vince McMahon asked for the old Stone Cold back in 2001. Now he's asking for the old AJ Styles. AJ Styles won a Fatal 5-Way to win the number 1 contender spot. Who walks out WWE champion?
This is a tough one. And I think a loss doesn't hurt either one. So I'm going to say that Daniel Bryan retains.
Okay. I think Daniel Bryan will retain too. I honestly think he'll hold on to that title till Mania. And maybe even after, depending on his opponent.
Of course.
Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor. Universal Championship. Go.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. Don't get me... I want Finn Balor to win more than just about anything right now.
And I hope they do it that right way and they make it to where, like Finn Balor lost by just a hair.
Yeah.
Like Brock Lesnar barely escapes. Kind of like what they did when he went against Samoa Joe. When he went against Braun Strowman the first time. But, yeah.
Yeah, and, people... honestly, I'm going to say Finn Balor has more of a chance than we're letting on. Because, we talked about him, being more edgy and things. Brock Lesnar is, one of the only 2 people to, straight up beat Braun Strowman. The last 2 or 3 matches Finn Balor's had with Braun Strowman, they've ended with interference. But right before the interference, Finn Balor was about to win the damn match. So if Finn Balor can knock off Braun Strowman, he could possibly knock off Brock Lesnar as the man. And doing that would elevate him on such a high level.
I agree.
My official prediction, I'll still say Brock Lesnar, but we're all going to be jumping for joy if Finn Balor wins. All right, so now it is time for the big match, the big gimmick. The only pay-per-view that I think deserves a gimmick match.
Of course.
That being the Royal Rumble. We'll start with the... let's start with the men.
All right.
Start with the men's Royal Rumble. So we have, 30 entrants, and they have confirmed entrants right here. John Cena is not confirmed anymore. He is not going to be in the Rumble due to injury or whatever. He actually is set to start filming a movie that day. And whether he's needed for that day or not is debatable, but the image of it is that he's not going to be in it. So the confirmed entrants are as follows: Randy Orton, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston, Big E, Xavier Woods, Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, Elias, Jinder Mahal, Jeff Hardy, Bobby Lashley, Titus O'Neil, Andrade Cien Almas, Rey Mysterio, Mustafa Ali, and R-Truth coming in at number 30. Who do you have winning the men's Royal Rumble?
This is a tough one. I don't have only one pick. If
Remember,
you were to force me to pick one superstar, we talked about how we're going to have an official pick and who we would want to win.
Yeah, and like a dark horse pick. Yeah.
So my official pick is going to be Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
My dark horse pick is going to be Andrade.
Okay. I will say Seth Rollins will win. As a close second, I would say Drew McIntyre, but that's not my dark horse pick. If Daniel Bryan retains the WWE Championship and holds it till WrestleMania, I can see my dark horse pick being Mustafa Ali. Just with the way they've elevated him in such a rapid fashion,
of course.
I could see him winning the Royal Rumble and facing Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
Of course.
Especially with word coming out that Mustafa Ali saying that Daniel Bryan gives more credit than he lets on about getting Mustafa Ali called up.
And I miss the days of like Royal Rumble winners being people that like aren't exactly main event talent, you know?
Yeah.
You think back to like 2005. At the time, Batista and John Cena weren't main event stars.
Yeah.
At the time, you got to think other winners that have not been. Alberto Del Rio was the main event attraction at the time. That he won. Who else was?
Sheamus. You can say
was the main event.
he's like in and out of the main event. Let's see. You haven't had it in the last few years. Roman Reigns was a main eventer. We could say in that time. Triple H, obviously a main eventer. Randy Orton, obviously a main eventer. Shinsuke Nakamura, that bumped him into it.
Of course.
But I do see where you're going, because it would be cool to see someone who has not won a world title get a world title shot. And that's why I'd like to see Mustafa Ali.
And also, former WWE superstar, this is a live from WrestlePage, page that I follow on Instagram. Former WWE superstar Tatanka tweeted a photo of him and Bray Wyatt in a gym together.
Oh, no.
Rumor has it that Tatanka, Bray Wyatt, Kurt Angle, and Velveteen Dream could all be surprise entrants at this year's Royal Rumble.
They have Velveteen Dream rumored for the Rumble right now? Wow, that would actually be rather amazing. I would not mind seeing that at all. Seeing Velveteen Dream joining the main roster full time, or just being, one of the special NXT surprise entrants. Tatanka, though, I mean, okay, sure, you need surprise entrants. Why not?
Sure.
Bray Wyatt, he can come back. And Kurt Angle, I think he might be one of those, quote-unquote surprises, but it's a given that he'll be in the match. But, so, our pick, we both saying Seth Rollins, your dark horse being Andrade, my dark horse being Mustafa Ali. So, at least it's kind of interesting to say that we both believe a Raw superstar will win, but our dark horse is both from SmackDown. And I think Andrade Daniel Bryan would tear it up at Mania.
I agree.
Or even Andrade AJ, So now the Women's Royal Rumble. We have confirmed entrants Natalya, Bayley, Ember Moon, Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, Mickie James, Alicia Fox, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Zelina Vega, Charlotte Flair, Naomi, Tamina, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Dana Brooke, Lana, Nia Jax, Nikki Cross, and Carmella, who is coming in at number 30. Who do you think will win and why?
Going off of my prediction earlier with Sasha Banks winning the Raw Women's Championship, I'm wanting Bayley to win this year's Women's Royal Rumble.
Ooh, okay. So we did talk about the possibility of having Bayley and Sasha at WrestleMania. That would be a great way to kick things off. What about your dark horse pick? Because because with the Rumble, you always need one. You always need someone in your back pocket.
My dark horse, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Nikki Cross.
Really? Wow. Okay. All right. So my prediction, like I said, I'll say Becky Lynch wins the Royal Rumble. Of course, Charlotte would be my close second. My dark horse pick, I think this would be a big surprise and would be amazing for the hardcore fans. You know how we were talking earlier about them needing a SmackDown Women's title match to match the level of a Ronda Becky match on Raw. Well, what about this? Asuka's the women's champion right now. Her best matches in NXT or against my dark horse pick, I'm going to say Ember Moon wins the Royal Rumble and moves over to SmackDown to face Asuka for the SmackDown Women's title. Just the matches those two put on, even though it was kind of one-sided, but that was also during Asuka's undefeated streak. And, Ember Moon, she's been doing a lot of work when it comes to Battle Royals, almost knocking off Nia Jax every time, entering the final two in both Battle Royals. And I honestly think Ember Moon winning would be a pleasant surprise for any of us to see. And
it'd be one of those things where it's like we were just talking about, someone that hasn't held the belt would win the Royal Rumble match. So essentially it would lead to a big character boost for Ember Moon.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for this episode of Let's Talk Wrestling. We should be doing an episode this Sunday. Should Patrick be coming over? That's still, being decided. Depends on, schedules, if he can make it in travel time. And, of course, weather, because it is snowing outside. So we may not possibly see it. Like I said, it just depends. But if he's here, there will be an episode.
Of course.
Maybe even a live reaction stream on YouTube. Who knows? But until then, be well, stay safe. This has been Let's Talk Wrestling.